Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Hey, welcome to Movie Friends. I'm here with my friend Michelle Rubenstein, who is searching for answers in all the wrong places.
And I'm here with my friend Seth Vargas, who didn't get Hungry Hungry Hippos for Christmas. Did you have that game when you were a kid?
No, I was gonna say that's actually true. I don't think we owned Hungry Hungry Hippos. I have played it though.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fine.
Yeah, a lot of mashing of your
It's
little
noisy.
button.
It's a noisy game.
You know what? I actually take back my comment. I don't like that game.
Yeah, I don't want it. So this was great. I'm so glad we came to the conclusion about how we feel about Hungry Hungry Hippos. I didn't know we needed it, but clearly we did.
Bad game.
Ooh, yeah. Pass.
Yeah. Anyway, what's going on?
Well, over the weekend, I went to a screening of Clueless, which I've seen Clueless before. It is my favorite movie of all time. But this was a special screening followed by a Q&A with Amy Heckerling.
Unreal.
It was so cool. And I texted Seth that night because she referenced Ed Wood as inspiration. She also, to be fair, she also referenced a lot of other directors. Agnes Varda is one of them, but more, yes. And I didn't know the other ones, but those two I did know, and obviously Ed Wood. And when she was talking about Ed Wood, it was kind of in the sense of like smile and keep going and just not so much of worry about the details, and the rest will follow. She's very interesting to hear from. In particular, this one young girl raises her hand and asked her, "What is your advice to young filmmakers who are, just getting started?" And Amy was like, "This is the worst time to get into filmmaking." She's like, there are so many streamers, and it's just so hard to break into. It's the worst time to do this. But really, if you just listen to her entire talk, was just like, believe in yourself and do it on your terms. That was like what I took away from it. But Aunt and I cracked up at her realness to that answer.
Wow.
To that response, rather.
All right, Amy Heckerling.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of people there?
Sold out.
Wow.
I know. And this was at our local cinema arts center. And then after Clueless, she was doing a Q&A for Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing Clueless with like a sold out crowd?
Okay, so the first time I saw Clueless was in theaters with my dad at 8 years old, and just being like, oh my God, this is amazing, the best thing ever. And then to see it all these years later in a theater with a sold out crowd was pretty special. I have to say it was pretty great.
Wow. Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm getting over being sick.
Yeah.
I was so sick, and when I'm sick, I have fever dreams, and I think that my dreams related to the movie that we're talking about today. But I'm doing good. I'm feeling much better.
Good. You look better, because we met last night to discuss the movie we're working on, and I felt bad because I felt like you were just melting. I could see it in your face, and I'm like, Seth needs to get off stat and go to sleep.
Yeah, and I think I probably got off with you and like went up to bed and fell asleep soon thereafter.
Yeah.
Hey, but the good news is we got some emails.
Email.
First email, subject line is Amadeus, and it says, "Dear Movie Friends podcast hosts, Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein." If Salieri, one of the greatest composers of all time, is the epitome of mediocrity, what hope do the rest of us have? Sincerely, Skylar.
Thank you, Skylar. I feel that this is just a statement. This isn't a question to be discussed.
I mean, I agree. And I would just say none. We have none.
No.
Most of us will live our lives with almost no impact on the world around us. But that's okay. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of needing to make an impression, I think, is a prison that people can fall into.
Yep.
So I think that we should take Salieri's example and not follow it, but rather run from it and just be happy, have fun. Don't be plagued by Mozart. Of course, this is in reference to our episode on Amadeus.
Yeah.
Can you believe that it's only been a month since we did that?
I know, it's pretty wild, isn't it?
So thanks, Skylar, for reminding us all of our mediocrity.
Thank you.
We got another email. Subject line is Ebert song ?
OMG.
And it says, I will let my attachment speak for itself. And there's an attachment here that I will play right now.
Hey, Seth and Michelle. I know you've been workshopping an Ebert song for when you get to his reviews on the podcast, and I wanted to offer my contribution. Ebert, Ebert, I wonder what you thought about this.
Hey, that's very good.
Isn't that so cute?
Oh my gosh. This is from our good friend Betsy.
Great job, Betsy.
Betsy's one of the hosts of the Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent podcast. What do you think about this?
I love it. I love the little pause at the end.
Right.
I think Betsy has a beautiful singing voice.
I mean, I kind of doubted that she would, and I've been put in my place.
Good.
Yeah.
Betsy,
you ever
I'm
just
glad
look
you
at
put
someone
Seth in his place? Think twice about what you're about to say, Seth.
Well, you ever just look at someone and think, you can't sing? That's what I thought with Betsy.
Wow.
And I stand corrected.
I never doubted her. In my eyes, she can do anything.
So, okay, so are we going to use this?
I mean, I'm down to use it. I also think it would be kind of fun if people were up for it. Maybe because Betsy will inspire them, but we have a rotating Ebert song. Wouldn't that be fun?
You know what? That would be fun. That actually would be fun.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you want to, come up with a little jingle, sing it, send it to us, and then we'll use it.
You'll be featured on our show.
Wow. Look at Betsy go.
Trailblazer.
Well, speaking of trailblazers, my goodness.
Yeah.
Today's film, Donnie Darko from 2001. This is written and directed by Richard Kelly, edited by Sam Bauer and Eric Strand, cinematography by Stephen Poster, composed by Michael Andrews, costume design by April Ferry, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Jenna Malone, James Duval, Mary McDonnell, Patrick Swayze, and the great Beth Grant. This movie was made for $4.5 million. Initial box office, about 500,000. And they shot this in 28 days. Now, each week we write a summary for the movie that we're covering. Sometimes they come out easy, sometimes they don't. And I got to tell you, I was like, what the heck do I say about this movie? So, Michelle, good luck. Why don't you take it away and read our summary?
How would you know if you were living in an alternate universe? Would the people be the same? Would you be? For the residents of Middlesex, Virginia, they aren't aware that their lives and world are currently under a time limit. In 28 days, their world will end when a black hole rips apart all of known existence. With the help of Frank, an invisible giant bunny rabbit, only one kid has the ability to set things right, and he isn't even sure of what he is experiencing. When everything is settled and the universes are set right, will anyone even know who saved them? Or will his name just be another local fable of a doomed kid, Donnie Darko? That was very good, Seth.
Oh, thank you.
Very good.
This was a movie that I watched a lot when I was younger. And a movie that I watched close to it coming out. You know, I wasn't part of the people who contributed to its $500,000 box office. We somehow got a copy of it, and I must have watched Donnie Darko 50 times in my youth.
What made you want to keep watching it? Were you trying to figure it out, or did you resonate with some of the parts? Were you captivated by some of the sequences we see?
Yeah, I think it was more so just that I loved the movie itself.
Okay.
You know, we would watch it as friends and then try to understand it as best we could. The internet was around for sure, but it wasn't quite the same as like typing into Google the end of Donnie Darko explained, and you'd get like 30 videos.
Yeah.
I will say on my MySpace, you could put a picture under your people you would like to meet. And I had the picture of Donnie, Gretchen, and Frank in the movie theater for like a long time. Yeah. Now, you have seen this before.
Yes.
Do you remember watching it and what your experience was like?
I don't. I definitely saw this in high school. This was a huge movie at the time when we were in high school. And I can't remember if I watched it with a group of people, if I watched it with a boyfriend, if I watched it on my own out of curiosity. And then I never revisited it. And I think at the time I just took it as, oh, that was interesting. And then just always remembered Frank.
Very iconic character and imagery with Frank.
Well, it's just always a rabbit, you know? It's like Frank the rabbit and Harvey the rabbit and Greg the bunny. And it's just always these bunnies. And at the time, I was like, again, saw this movie of Frank the rabbit. Then I'm watching Greg the bunny on TV. Then I'm watching Harvey. And so it's just like this icon of rabbit everywhere.
Sure. Okay, so you watched it for this.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious what, okay, so we have been picking movies this year after doing this show for 4 years, right? We've been trying to make a concerted effort to cover movies that it's like kind of surprising that we haven't done yet. And this was on that list of movies. And there are films that we cover that will cause either both or one of us to go down like a rabbit hole, for lack of a better term.
A black hole. Mm-hmm.
And Donnie Darko certainly is a film that you could become either very annoyed by, and I don't mean just you, but any person, very annoyed by or very immersed in. And so I'm curious what path you took.
Yeah, you could see my Alex Mack orb coming out of me. We haven't talked about it.
We didn't talk about this throughout this
all.
week. We almost
at all.
I don't know that we said really anything. You mentioned we talked to each other last night, and I asked you if you got into the whole manipulated dead and manipulated living stuff, and
I said yes.
But anyway, what did you think about the movie?
Yeah, so sit down, watch this movie. Movie ends. And it left me very curious this is such a complex movie. And so I watched the documentary, which I'm drawing a blank on the title. Do you have the title of it?
Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
The Philosophy
yes.
of Donnie Darko.
Yes. So I watched that, which I
Yeah.
found very interesting, just hearing about the filmmaker and
Yeah.
his process and his first film, right? So this is all very interesting. I love behind the scenes stuff. So
Yes.
anytime there's like a documentary that pairs with a film or TV series or anything, I'm into it. And so very early on, I'm like, wow, maybe the behind the scenes of this movie is more interesting than this movie.
Hmm.
Then I start digging into theories and what people think about this movie and the takeaways. And I'm like, I think I understand. Then I come to the conclusion, I think I understand this movie, but then I don't understand this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean that as an insult. So then I continue on. I continue on the journey, right? Literally, you could see my path coming out of my chest and where it's leading me to this conversation here right now. And so then I listened to interviews with Kelly, more interviews, just to hear him speak about the movie like 20 years later, because let me see if perspective has changed, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I say this all to say the too long didn't read version. I think it's okay to not understand this movie, and I think we can all have different takeaways from it. I think there's really cool sequences in this movie that I really like. I think some of the story confuses me, and that's okay. I don't need to have this fully ironed out for me. And I'm okay, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different headspace from where I started, for sure.
Right. So I eventually came around to your way of thinking there.
Can I also add one more thing in?
Yeah.
I also really do think this is a really good movie to watch with another person who wants to be engaged and wants to talk about a movie afterwards, because there is so much to talk about here if you're open to it. If you're going to be cynical about it, I guess you could discuss that too. But it also just opens up the question of destiny and fate and time travel and how all of that works.
Yeah, it's not fun always to talk with a person who like isn't willing to play the game, I guess.
Yeah, right.
When it's just like no, like every door is like shut in your face and you're like, "Oh, well, okay." Like sometimes you don't like something, but you can still I feel like you can still talk about aspects of it and not like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I did eventually come around to your way of thinking by the end. Because I got to tell you, when we finished recording last Wednesday, I immediately threw on Donnie Darko. Haven't watched it in a few years. And I was like, okay, I'm curious, if I'll feel the same way about it. And I really enjoyed the film. And then I was like, I think I'm going to try to figure this movie out. I think I'm going to try to be able to give a definitive answer about everything. And the director's cut is on Tubi currently, if you don't own the director's cut DVD. And it expands and expounds on everything. There's pretty important pieces of information that are revealed in the director's cut. One of the biggest, I think, is that his therapist reveals that he's been on placebos the whole time.
Okay, that's like really big. That kind of changes the story. Not changes, but that's a huge thing. And so sorry to cut you off, but like to leave that out, that really, I don't know, I feel like that changes the narrative a little bit.
Absolutely. And so I kind of wanted to mention that, to say, is Donnie Darko, the movie, the theatrical cut, and then the director's cut, are these two completely separate movies? And you can't, like, I feel like we can't take pieces of the director's cut and then interpret the theatrical cut that we watched, because that's extracurricular. That's homework.
Right. Or
and if you and I went and saw this in 2001 in one of the few theaters that played it, I think this played in 50 theaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have that piece of information. And so we would have to, go to a coffee shop after and talk about the whole movie, and we wouldn't have that piece of information. And so is our interpretation of that version of the film wrong? I don't think it can be, because we didn't have it.
Yeah. Or we just have to come to the conclusion that the medication didn't really have anything to do with it because how can we articulate this?
Mm.
Donnie was chosen to ultimately be a martyr at the end. So it really, the medication part of it doesn't really matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I think
Like he wouldn't have he might have been going to therapy for mental health, but the medication wasn't impacting his hallucinations because Frank was visiting him in the tangent world.
right. Well, we know that he's in therapy prior to the events of October 2nd.
Right. Yep.
But is he having hallucinations, or is that a new thing? Because he does say, I made a new friend, real or imaginary.
Yeah, true.
Her asking that does kind of lead you to believe that perhaps Donnie has had imaginary friends before.
Mhm.
If you and I were talking and you were like, "Oh, I met a new person," and I was like, "Are they real or imaginary?" Like that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Just coming out of nowhere, right? And so I think that mostly what the medicine and the therapist does for us as the audience is it really puts us on unsure footing about Donnie being a reliable narrator. I mean, there's one scene in the film when Donnie's parents go to talk to the therapist, and the music, the lighting, she's describing what's going on with Donnie, and it's like a villain reveal in any other movie. And so, halfway through the movie, you're like, whoa, wait, maybe this person that I've been following isn't actually the good guy. Maybe he's the bad guy. Kind of hard.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I was like, I'm going to get a handle on this movie and I'm going to come and I'm going to lay it out for Michelle and the listeners. And you know what I realized?
What?
You can do that and it is incredibly boring. You can watch people pull up charts and pictures and timelines and of this movie, and I watched a bunch of them and I was just like, this sucks.
Well,
This
right.
is
And
so lame.
and luckily, right, like I already also watched and did the homework, so we don't need to do it. We can just discuss the elements that you find interesting, not interesting, work for you, don't work for you. Because you're right, there are so many deep dive pieces of content that will do this for you and bring in philosophers and then the synopsis and then what they think okay, go ahead, go do it. What worked for
Right.
you, what didn't is my
Yeah.
question.
So if you're listening to this, we're not going to do that. You can go and find people who've already done that. I'm just not interested. Like I'm more interested in the movie than how the whole time paradox works.
Yeah, right.
Because I think that if you were to just watch this without all of those, like I said, homework or extracurriculars, what is your impression of what happened? Why is Donnie laughing at the end? I have an answer for that, but it's just my interpretation of the movie, not
Mhm.
something that I can necessarily prove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? Or are you going to save it?
Oh no, I'll talk. Okay, so when Donnie goes and talks to Grandma Death, Roberta Sparrow,
Mhm.
she says every living thing on Earth dies alone.
Yep.
And I always took that as like an ominous, not a threat to Donnie, but it's a creepy, weird thing to say. But Roberta Sparrow, she's the one who wrote the philosophy of time travel. I think that she has an understanding of what is going on with Donnie and Frank and this tangent universe that they find themselves in. I think that she has a lot more going on upstairs than than people think. And so I think that when she says that to Donnie, it's not a warning. It's actually her way of comforting him because that's what's about to happen to him. He's literally going to die completely alone. No one will even know why it happened or how it all happened. And I think that when Donnie's laughing at the end, he's remembering that, and he's realizing like that it was all meant to be, and yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take it as like I guess in the same way, but just like a piece of like, oh, of course, here it is. Here's the end.
Mhm.
Like sometimes all you can do is laugh
Right.
or you'll cry.
Right, exactly. Yes, there have been many times where something happened and I was like, I don't know what to do other than
Yeah.
laugh. Yeah. Okay, so Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal, our possibly not reliable narrator, superhero, not superhero. How'd you feel about him?
I thought he did a really good job. I couldn't help but think and compare to the fact that Jason Schwartzman originally was going to play him because he
Yeah.
got a hand of the script and like really fell in love with it, which was a
Mhm.
good thing for this. But if Schwartzman played, it'd be like such a different tone and it just would be so different. And I think Jake just was able to bring that darkness in to it.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine
It'd
version
just be
of this
different.
with
So
Jason.
different.
Yeah. Especially for me, having seen this
Yeah.
so many times, this being I think this was my introduction to Gyllenhaal. I maybe saw October Sky, which is the other movie that he starred in.
Yeah.
I maybe saw that when I was younger. Now, I mean, I just can't imagine anyone else doing this.
Yeah.
He does feel, creepy and scary, but one of the biggest things that I take away from this movie is how realistic everyone feels. I don't know.
Yeah, they feel like real teenagers. It feels like a real family. It feels like a real dynamic. I mean, especially between Jake and Maggie since they're actually siblings, but it all feels pretty real.
I suppose I mean, I don't want to start on a bad foot, but I think there's only one person in this movie they just don't buy or believe, and it's Drew Barrymore.
Is it because we're so used to seeing Drew in lighter, fluffier roles, and so playing this more straight, stern, you don't buy it?
I just don't. Yeah, the scene where she's getting fired.
Yeah.
I was just like, Drew, what are we doing here?
Not the strongest.
No, and I think that she feels the most I'm acting actors. I mean, Beth Grant, as Mrs. Farmer, maybe a little, but I kind of feel like Kitty is.
She's out of touch.
She's out of touch, but I kind of feel like she's
it.
also kind of a real person too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely, Jake and his friends and the bullies. Maybe Jenna Malone is doing more acting here. I don't know. But it's refreshing. It's nice to see because you have this like super high concept movie, but then the people in it are just like talking about, the Smurfs and I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Donnie and Gretchen and their relationship?
I don't put too much stock into it. I'm rooting for these two. And maybe that's because I'm just trying to figure out the movie, Where is this going? Is she a pawn in the plan? Is she the savior that teaches him love and there's deeper meaning, right? Like
Yeah,
that's her role. I can't like every time I see Jenna Malone, I just think of the movie Stepmom, which was a movie I was obsessed with as a child. Like the amount of times I've seen Stepmom is probably unhealthy for a young person.
Really?
To watch. I mean, all I did was cry and cry and cry.
Why did you watch Stepmom so much?
I just, for some reason, I loved it. With Julia Roberts.
Wow, I need to watch Stepmom.
You've never seen it?
No, I've never seen it. I mean, I'm aware of it. Julia Roberts, Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. Directed by Chris Columbus.
Very emotional.
He also directed a movie called Home Alone.
Oh, yeah, sounds familiar.
And Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 big movies in my household growing up. Anyway, so I couldn't help but think of Stepmom. But that's not Jenna's fault.
Right.
How'd you feel about their relationship?
I think I just feel bad for Gretchen.
Yeah.
That she's going through her entire life imploding in like every way that it possibly can. And Donnie's just kind of like, oh, we haven't kissed yet.
Well, yes. I mean, he does console her. It was funny when he walks her home and she's like, oh, my stepdad has mental health. And she goes, oh, really? I have those too. He got so
Yep.
excited.
Yep.
He's just so awkward. He knows he's awkward, like, talking to girls. Not the smoothest.
Right.
I liked his delivery in that scene, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel bad for her, and I feel bad that the only guy in town who's like even remotely nice is still kind of like just a doof.
Yeah.
That's why, hey, if you're a young person, don't just settle for the people around you. You know what I mean? Wait and find, wait and find a good person.
Sometimes, though, you do have to go through the bad ones to learn and realize.
Sure.
I'm not saying settle, but it is a whole learning experience.
Right. Yeah, like, at the Halloween party, she's like, my mom is missing.
I know.
And then Donnie's like, maybe we should, have sex about this.
Right. Also, the world's ending, so we kind of need to get on our bikes and get out of here.
Right. In one of the videos that I watched, they showed how Jim Cunningham warns against drinking, drugs, and premarital sex. And Donnie literally does all 3 of those things. But yeah, I mean, Gretchen, I think ultimately, like you said, she is just a pawn. Like she is just being put on this path along with Donnie to come to this eventual end, which is her dying, which is used to teach Donnie about the importance of life, I suppose.
Yeah, so he reaches that and then understands his purpose.
Right.
Even though in the tangent universe, it's seen that he does matter in people's lives.
Right.
But not enough that Gretchen will die in this one.
Right. Well,
universe.
The tangent universe will end whether or not Donnie does anything.
Right.
But if he fulfills what he's meant to do, which is to, deliver the jet engine back to the original universe, and by doing so, he'll die, it means that Gretchen will live.
Right.
It means that everyone will live, but more so to him, it's like, oh, Gretchen will live, and my family will live.
Right.
Okay, Frank. How do you feel about Frank?
I like that Frank is Elizabeth's boyfriend.
Yes.
Like, Frank exists outside of the illusion of Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Frank is the boyfriend. We don't see him, but we hear the honking. Frank's at the party because we see on the whiteboard Frank went out to go get beer, which later on, that car is the one who kills Gretchen.
Yeah.
Right. He's dressed as a bunny on Halloween. So, okay. I like all of this. And then creatively speaking, I think the mask is pretty cool. I like what we're doing with the voice. It's creepy.
I know. We did talk about this a little bit because I had said to you that I wanted to steal part of Frank's audio design for what we're working on.
Yeah.
There was actually several elements to this that I really enjoyed. One, how they do Frank's voice. 2, all the shots that are sped up and then returned to normal speed. I really, really liked that. I like when filmmakers do things that don't make any sense, but you almost don't catch them because you're just enjoying the film.
Yeah. And I think all the choices that were made fit the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it came together nicely. Like not one thing from a creative standpoint where I was like, that doesn't work, or that's kind of out of place.
Were there any parts though that you were like, I could do without this, or like I didn't like this part?
It's so hard. Okay, real talk though, right? I watched this movie once and then I go and watch the documentary and I watch all these like recap videos. So I don't even know how to answer that question because I couldn't tell you. The images are all swirling in my head. Like I have the overall concept of the story, but to give you a specific example, I do not have one, sir. I do not have one.
Got it. One of the parts that I'm just, not that I feel it's weak. I'm just like, I don't get it in light of the ending.
Which part?
So if the goal is for Frank to help Donnie accomplish this one task that will save all known universes, okay, that's fine. Why are we going on these little Frank side quests to break the water main and burn down Jim Cunningham's house? That just doesn't, I don't get that. You know, we see that there are reverberations, I guess I would say, echoes from the tangent universe, which is the universe that we spend the majority of the film in, okay? Listeners, if you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about, I'm sorry. Maybe we should have prefaced with a little explanation, but basically, you know, October 2nd, 1988, there's an anomaly in the space-time continuum that causes a universe to come to be that should not be, which is the universe that the movie takes place in. In 28 days, that universe will cease to exist, which is what we see at the end of the movie with, like, you know, the sky is all apocalyptic and blah, 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 blah. Donnie has to return a vessel to the original universe through a wormhole. He does so, and he closes off the tangent universe, and life continues in the original universe, and no one will notice. Okay, fine. So we see that there's reverberations from what occurred in the tangent universe when everyone wakes up the morning that Donnie dies. You know, seemingly when he dies, everyone wakes up from a dream. And they're all shook to different degrees. So pretty much nothing that befalls our characters will happen to them in the normal universe, but that includes Jim Cunningham being exposed.
Yeah.
Unless we're to believe that Kitty Farmer will follow this dream and figure it out for herself.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's like you can have the theory of you're predestined to do something regardless if it makes sense or not. And so like Donnie was predestined to flood the school and take down Jim, right? We don't have to understand it. It's just that was part of the course in the tangent universe to get to the point where he's now going to save and get the vessel back, sacrifice himself. Is it that? Or is it in the regular world, Jim is still alive and someone else will take him down because someone will have deja vu or a thought, you know, is it going to be Miss Farmer? I don't know.
Is this just Donnie learning to trust the hallucinations?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, is that part of it? Because we see him struggling. Like, it's not like in a superhero movie where someone finds out that they have powers and then they're like excited.
Yeah. No.
There's a one scene towards the end with his therapist where he's scared to see Frank.
Yeah.
And he's afraid of what is going to happen. And he's under hypnosis, and so this is his subconscious speaking. Anyway, that's the only part where I'm kind of like, well, wait, but what about this whole thing? Although maybe the movie is just saying, you can save some stuff and you can't save others.
Right. Again, in a tangent, or maybe Frank's just like, I hate that guy, and it'd be really cool if you just took him out, even though this world's about to end. So
right,
just do it. And how fun it would be to like flood the school. So like,
well, Frank says to him, he says, Donnie says, why'd you make me flood the school? And Frank says they're in great danger. From the rest of the movie, we know that the only danger that the kids are in is from this guy, Jim Cunningham. So anyway, I think also the Jim Cunningham story and character, it all plays into the other part of this movie, which Richard Kelly, the writer and director, he's talked a lot about this. I really enjoyed listening to as many interviews as I could with Richard Kelly.
Yeah.
He seems like the most normal person.
Yeah.
For having gone through everything that he went through to get the movie made, and then for it to do no business, didn't make any money, partially due to 9/11 happening.
Yeah.
Partially due to no one understanding the movie and not wanting to distribute it and all that stuff.
Also Columbine.
also Columbine, which is so wild to think about. You and I, we talked about Columbine recently, right?
No, I think that was in a tangent universe with another Michelle, because I remember talking that with you.
Okay. Well, it's just wild to think about how we used to be more sensitive to tragedy.
Yeah.
Where now we just face it all the time. And the idea that a movie could be made like 2 years after Columbine and people would still be like, you can't have a movie where a high school kid shoots a gun.
Right.
I don't think anyone would blink an eye at that now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Richard Kelly talked about how he very much wanted this to be in 1988. He centers it around the Bush versus Dukakis election. And he wanted to show the real differences between like the generations and how times were changing. And this idea that all of the adults are just in love with Jim Cunningham because he's handsome and squeaky clean and nice. And here he is trying to talk to the younger generation and like tell them like it is. And they just kind of give him the reins.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy's like coming into the school and teaching them about morality.
Like love and fear, and it just feels
how do you
cultish.
feel about that idea?
Love and fear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought about this a lot because I feel I can argue where I can see things into the fear category or the love category, but then there's curiosity. But curiosity, if you're curious about something, that means you're open to learning or doing the thing, which generally is a positive thing, which then could lean towards like and love, and then love. You're not doing that out of fear. So depends on the thing.
Right. To that point, then we can just say everything is negative or positive.
Well, right. That's what that's right. Right.
But that's not true either, because a lot of things are just neutral.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, how did you decide what to eat today for breakfast? Did you eat breakfast?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you eat?
I had chia seed pudding.
Okay.
I didn't know we were judging each other's meals. What did you have, Seth?
I don't eat breakfast.
Okay. Anyway, continue.
Why did you eat chia seed pudding for breakfast?
It was pre-made.
All right. So would that fall under fear or love?
Love.
See, I would put it under fear because you were afraid to make something and you opted for the lazy choice, which is chia seed pudding.
And I would argue under that of past Michelle loves future Michelle so much she made her a meal.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Mhm.
true.
Yeah, it is true, isn't it?
So how do you feel about Donnie's takedown of this philosophy? You know,
Well, I mean,
that
he has a
this
point.
doesn't take
yeah.
into account the full spectrum of human emotion.
I agree. There's a lot of gray area in between.
I think, too, a lot of times people do things without knowing why.
Yeah.
How many times in your life do you find yourself saying, I don't know why I just did that?
Yep. I don't know why I just
So-
said that. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I do like this idea, though, of just putting every single action that you could possibly make or decision or just anything onto a timeline of two different motivators.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of that is, okay, so you did something out of fear. That doesn't make it a bad thing.
Right.
If you're walking alone in the dark and a dog comes up to you and you like switch sides of the street, you're totally doing that out of fear of a dog biting you, right?
Yeah. And it's like, then it's like, I love myself so much to save myself.
Right. Well, I mean, see, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there
This is
aren't
like
two ends. Maybe it's all the same.
It's all the same. Or it could be like glass half full, glass half empty type of mindset. You can spin anything. And it really comes down to consequences too. That's really what should be, I mean, obviously not discussed in the movie, but we make decisions all the time, whether they're based on fear or love or curiosity or whatever, but really it's the consequences from those decisions that we have to face. And consequences are not always a bad thing. It's just the result of our choice.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing too, is I think that a decision is just the start. We can't know if something was good or bad until we see it through.
Yeah. And then if you have the mentality of everything's a learning experience, then I guess everything was good.
Well,
I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just like giving the example.
Well, like if you make a decision based out of fear, but then it ends up being the right decision, you wouldn't go back in time and be like, no.
Right.
You got to make a decision based out of love.
Right.
I know that this will lead to, the quote unquote right thing happening or something good, but what your decision being, I don't know. Point is, it's complicated. And I think that
very complicated.
Donnie is totally right. Like it is actually damaging to train young people to think in binary ways, that everything is fear or love.
Yeah, and like all of the gym stuff in the infomercials that he made, and then him speaking, it just doesn't even make sense. It's like not even coherent. It really feels like what he's saying is just like putting you in a trance. And maybe that's what it is that's how I took it, my takeaway from that. And plus it's in a tangent universe. It's like, what are these zombies just following what this guy is saying?
Sometimes I've found that charismatic leaders can skate by on tone and presentation as opposed to actual quality of material, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
I'm thinking of the Nexium cult, which was a cult that got broken up a few years back and is actually from the area that we live in. And so when the news story broke, my wife and I were very, very interested. And the leader of that cult, biggest loser doofus ever. And when you listen to him talk, it's kind of like what you said with Jim Cunningham. It's like, this doesn't really make any sense, but it's the way that he's saying it and the way that he makes people feel. And when you can kind of reveal like a half truth to a person, and that thing goes off in their mind of like, oh, wait a minute, I never thought about it like that. You don't really need to have a good follow-up because they just think that you're smart, I guess.
Yeah. And also, if there's an audience of people that you know you can prey on that are looking for an answer,
Yeah.
that makes it even easier.
Right. Well, right, exactly. I do love the instructional videos, though.
They look great. I love the look of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of videos like that in my school days. Not like self-help nonsense like that, but like fire safety videos, or I remember watching etiquette videos, like videos about like, if you go to a fancy dinner party, this is this is how you should act and speak, and just, educational videos like that. Did you, in your experience, did you have any kind of self-help school assemblies or things like this?
We did. I'm trying to think of like a specific one. There was this one police officer who spoke. I forgot his name. He spoke to us a lot. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely had motivational speakers coming in and talking to us. Not like Jim, but yeah.
Right. Did you ever do Dare?
Oh yeah. I wish I had my Dare t-shirt.
You go and talk to a bunch of 8-year-olds and you're like, drugs are bad and they will kill you. And it's like a sold out audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, none of the little kids are going to be like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. I think I disagree with you.
Expand. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Dare. Oh yeah. I was freaked out. And then I remember I went to a summer camp and some police officers would come and they just told us. I bet it was
the same cop. There was like this one cop who like was known for this. Yeah.
Horror stories. Like just.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to tell you the one story. Well, actually, I'll tell you, but I'm going to edit it out.
Yeah.
Okay. I just told Michelle the crazy, horrible horror story. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe those things work. Maybe
I think they do. Obviously, they do.
But it's fear. It's
fear.
It's not love. It's fear. It's like controlling kids by making them afraid. But again, is that so bad? Like if you take a kid and tell them, hey, if you put your hand on the stove, you're gonna get burnt and it's gonna hurt really bad and your hand is gonna fall off. But then they never burn their hand on the stove. Is that bad?
I mean, I think there's just tiers to this whole discussion. That's a safety precaution.
But isn't everything in life a safety? I mean, everything is risk reward and
so
and
true.
self being self-sustaining, and what is going to upset your apple cart, and
but I mean,
like right now you're married, you've got a house, and so there are certain choices in life that you're not going to make because it would blow up your entire life. Like you're not going to suddenly start doing heroin tomorrow.
Right. But like, I think there's also the discussion of an action you wouldn't do because, how can I say this? You're not living in fear. Like I am not living in fear of my hand touching a hot stove because I know not to touch the hot stove. And I think you can live in fear. That is a state of being, or a educational choice to make of like, oh yeah, if I touch this, the consequence will be a hot burned hand. But I'm not living in fear constantly that I might burn my hand. Right.
Yeah, and that is an important distinction because you do meet people and everything that they do is based out of fear. It's like, I can't do that because this.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, man, just live a little.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Back to the political time period. There's a moment when Donnie and his parents are leaving the principal's office after he tells Miss Farmer to force What did she say? Forcibly shove the something card into my anus.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a moment where they're leaving the office and you overhear a conversation. And something that I noticed as I watched this movie like 5 times this week is you hear a lot of conversations throughout the movie. Whenever there's a crowd, whenever you're always hearing different people chiming in. And so as Donnie and his parents are leaving, we hear this conversation, and it's a conversation that Kitty is having with another woman in the school, but we don't see them. We just hear these words, and it's mixed so loud. And I never noticed it before. Anyway, she says, "These are modern times. My political attitudes are forthright. And if there's a vice presidential candidate that is worthy of my vote, it's Dan Quayle." After this, we cut and we see Kitty talking with this coworker, and Kitty says, "Nobody cares about responsibility, morality, or family values." And then they give the Darkos like a dirty look. And I don't know a lot about Dan Quayle, like I was an infant around this time.
Yeah.
But I looked him up, and one of the things that he remains known for is that he came out against the TV show Murphy Brown for depicting a woman who was a single mother. And so Kelly, he's not just like erroneously placing this in 1988. Like he's very purposefully like, this is the mindset of the adults and this is the mindset of the kids. They could not be further apart. And, we already mentioned that scene with Drew Barrymore where she's like, you try communicating to these, we're losing these kids. We're losing, everyone. And we almost don't get any positive depictions of kids in this movie.
What do you mean by that?
Donnie's friends are horrible. Go back to China.
They're terrible, but
terrible.
When I say this, I'm not making an excuse. Teenage boys that need to evolve.
Yes, but terrible.
What about Samantha, the littlest Darko?
I think Samantha's fine, but I think that the movie, Richard Kelly said he purposely wanted to show Drew Barrymore, who grew up in show business, and all of the things that she went to. Drew Barrymore's character kind of looks over this performance of Sparkle Motion and these girls who they're fully unaware that they're being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Kitty says to them, if you're going to throw up, just swallow it. Yeah. Failure is not an option. And then the proximity that puts them to a character like Jim Cunningham. I think that Kelly is like as close to saying it as he can, that like this is a bad, dangerous situation to put little kids in.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, Elizabeth, I feel like she is paving her own way, talking back, making a future for herself, or trying to. Questioning politics, gets into Harvard.
Yeah. And I don't mean to say like, oh, all the kids in Donnie Darko are bad. I mean, Sharita, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything bad. But I do think it's clear to see that like you have these adults who have all these real strict morals, and then you have the kids who have none. And it's a really big divide between generations. Mm-hmm. Speaking of bad kids, the two bullies. Now, I did text you and I said that there's a fun connection to the OC, the television show.
Oh, yeah, movie. You did say that.
Yes. And I don't know if you found it or not.
No, to be honest with you, I totally forgot you said that. Whoops.
So, obviously, Seth Rogen plays the first bully.
Yeah.
I absolutely love how stupid these bullies are. Like when they're harassing Gretchen, Seth Rogen just says like, "I like your boobs," and And it's so dumb, and it just shows them to be dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like well-written villains.
No.
with, like,
No, they're stupid.
good monologues. Yeah, and it shows how stupid a person like that is. I love that. I love that detail. And again, it just feels very realistic. Okay, so the other bully is character's name is Seth Devlin, which I thought it was funny that of the duo, one of their names is Seth as a character, and then one of their names is Seth as a real person, but Seth doesn't play Seth.
Right.
Anyway, that's Seth Devlin is played by Alex Greenwald, who was the lead singer of Phantom Planet.
Oh, yes.
Who,
Yes.
who
Yeah.
did the song for the OC. Well, not for the OC, but the theme song for the OC.
I meant to write
California.
that down. That's the OC reference you were talking about. Got it. Yes.
He looks so scary and ugly in this movie.
No thanks.
And I looked up pictures of him like at the time and like later, and I couldn't believe that it was the same person. I was like, there's just no way. Like, he's a very handsome person, but man, in this movie as the knife wielding bully, it's like, my God.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard Kelly said something that obviously didn't get fleshed out, but he places the movie in Virginia, which is where he's from. They film the movie in California. And he said that at the end, when we go back to the regular universe, the twist is supposed to be that the tangent universe takes place in Virginia, but that the real universe was in California.
Sure, Jan. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Sure.
That like you're supposed to gather that like throughout the whole movie, you're like, they say Virginia, but this doesn't feel like Virginia. And then when you go back to the normal universe, you're supposed to be like, oh, that's why it didn't feel like Virginia, because Donnie Darko's family actually lives in California in the regular universe.
I mean, to me, the whole movie feels California. I understand we did a lot of, we were trying to have that East Coast vibe with the choices of neighborhood and school. No, to me, this all screamed California.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, like I said, I've watched this movie how many times? I don't know that I even knew where it took place before.
It's true.
You're in the desert, you know what I mean? Like,
well, right. This movie could take place anywhere.
Mm-hmm. How'd you feel about Donnie's parents?
I liked how, like, it seems like they're not tuned in and listening, but then they are supportive in their own way.
Yeah.
I'm curious how you took the mom's reaction at the end of the movie.
Kelly talks about that and how he feels that she kind of retains the most from the other universe. But I do love the final shot, which is almost, it's not really memorable, but Rose Darko waves at Gretchen. Gretchen waves. And then the boy that she's talking with like also puts up his hand. And then it cuts. I don't think it's even, I don't know. I can't explain why I love it so much, but
yeah,
I do.
I think it shows like community. There's hope for humanity. This is the good kid that we've been waiting to see.
Yeah. Donnie calls his mom the B word. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She then tells her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And he like doesn't react.
Well, he says, you're bitching.
That's not reacting.
It's reacting. You just don't agree with it.
He should have at least walked into Donnie's room and been like, hey, you can't do that.
I feel like that was a real pick in my battles type moment.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, I never called my parent that.
No, I mean, so I'm one of 8 children. I don't think that ever happened once.
Yeah.
And if it did, I would have been one of 7 children, I think. And it probably would have been us kids
You know what's funny though? I think my mom has called Sam it though.
Oh yeah.
To
Well, you
her
know what?
face. To
I
her
think with
face.
parents to
Yeah.
kids, I think, you know.
We were older though. Not that that excuses it, but and I think
Sure.
it was. I mean, hey, listen. Everybody has their own thoughts about language and words that we use, but
Sure.
I think it was.
Well, I mean, yeah, that
taken.
word,
Yeah.
I've never used that word. I just don't feel good about it. I don't feel good.
Yeah, I don't. It's not one that I use on the reg.
So to me, Donnie Darko is a villain just for this scene. Okay, did you have a favorite musical part or song or?
I mean, the Tears for Fears sequence
Yeah.
is like real good. The opening out of the bus drill shot, it's really good. And you asked me last week, did you get to? And you were asking me if I got to this part yet in the movie. And that was like one of the other only things we spoke about. But I heard you say a completely different thing. And I was like, what are you talking about? When I just didn't hear you correctly. But yes, that was my favorite music sequence, I guess. Favorite sequence, really.
Yeah, it's great. It's you
it's
get
really
you
good.
get little snippets of all of the different characters,
Yeah.
including the principal who straight up looks at a student snorting cocaine and doesn't realize what's happening.
Yep.
And that's kind of another little piece of this whole disconnect between the generations. Like he doesn't even. And I don't think it's that he sees it and ignores it. It's just
no. I think he's like
these adults are oblivious. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in that way, it kind of reminds me of The Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Where all of the adults, it's like they see the surface and they're angry, but that's the only way that they can really connect with any of these kids. And they just have no idea of what's happening, like actually happening inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have some quotes that I wrote down that I would feel insane if we didn't mention.
Mm-hmm.
First is, what are feces?
Baby mice.
Baby mice? Aww.
That was probably my favorite quote exchange in this movie. Aww.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion.
Mm-hmm. Another good one.
Like I said earlier, Beth Grant, the great Beth Grant, always good. She always shows up and does what's needed. She is so irritating in this film. Like she's the worst. And her character culminating in this like tearful frustration. Delivering this line of sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion. Do you think this movie's funny?
No, but I think there are funny moments like that moment and also what are feces, baby mice. It's so weird. That's funny. You know, the Smurf exchange, not that I was like, oh, it's so funny. You know, I was like, oh, that's, okay. I'm amused by this.
That Smurf exchange is how I feel about like just 90% of movie commentary or fan fiction-y thinking. Like it bothers me so much. Like I feel like Donnie in that scenario where it's like, okay, your entire premise is based like on faulty ground. This is ridiculous. And then their response is like, why'd you have to go get smart on us? And I hate it. I hate it so much. So I like the exchange for showing how stupid it is, but yeah. Sometimes people will talk about, film or TV in a way where you're just making stuff up and you're basing whether you like it or not on what you've made up. And that's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down Donnie's thought in his letter. I hope that when the world comes to an end, I can breathe a sigh of relief because there will be so much to look forward to. Richard Kelly says that it's a possibility that he has a sequel. You say no?
No, we don't need it. Sorry. I'm usually in the camp of I don't need more.
Right.
So, but you know what? I also support, artistic endeavors. So if you feel the need, then what do I see? Like, who cares what I think and say? No one.
Sure.
I'm a flippin'
So
bucket.
Richard Kelly, very interesting director. He makes this one. He makes Southland Tales, and he makes The Box. Southland Tales is a movie that I want to do on this podcast, but I want to watch it with you. It is insane. It is an insane film. And not anything like this one. Like nothing like this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he hasn't made anything for a long, like years and years and years. But if you find interviews with him, after the 3 films that he's directed, he always says the same thing. He's like, we have a lot of things that we're working on. I've been working on a lot of different projects, and none of them have kind of come up yet, but they're all still going to be made. But until we wait for his Donnie Darko sequel, there was a Donnie Darko sequel made.
Yeah.
So it's called S. Darko. And I watched it today because I wanted to be able to say something about it on this episode. It follows Samantha Darko, the youngest one, the youngest kid in the family. She has run away from home because it was too painful to be there, and her parents didn't give her any attention or love after the death of Donnie, which is like a really dark place for this movie to go. And it deals with another world ending. I mean, like we're given, days, hours, minutes, seconds. There's Frank the Bunny illusions. There's wormhole stuff. And I've always heard that this is like one of the worst movies ever made. It currently has a 1.6 rating on Letterboxd.
Wow.
Which is very hard to do. And I'm here to say it wasn't terrible.
Oh,
Jasper
good.
from Twilight is in it.
I mean, James Lafferty and Ed Westwick. My goodness. It's like teen drama television written all over it.
It reminded me of teen drama shows, actually. And I thought to myself, I was like, this would maybe work better as a TV show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that it needs to exist at all, but
right.
I could actually see them like expanding and fleshing things out. And I don't know. Anyway, S. Darko, not as bad as you've heard, but still not good. All right, let's get into our happies and crappies.
It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies.
So my happy is I love the camera tricks. I love Frank's voice. I love how they put this movie together. Even the CGI, which is pretty dicey, I still like it. It's still, I don't know. I like how they stylized it. My crappy is like the idea that you have to kind of go outside of the film to understand the film, that the film doesn't give you everything. And that's not necessarily a crappy. It's just that there are some movies that you watch and you don't feel the need to explore. Donnie Darko is not that movie. You are going to have questions. And so I would almost prefer if there were no answers. Nothing. But Richard Kelly put in a lot of work to expand on the material through a website, through the director's cut. And I don't love that. I don't love that.
My happy is the Tears for Fears sequence. I think it's great. Love it. Inspired by it. My crappy is just the same as you. I think this is really complex. And hey, listen, maybe you're the type of person that's just going to throw this on. I can't imagine this being a movie you just throw on. But maybe you do, and you take with it what you want and you leave with no questions, and that's great. And again, that's not really a crappy, but I do think this movie does require homework afterwards.
Well, we've talked about how we feel about the movie. So now let's hear from some strangers on the internet in a segment called Half Star, 3 Star, 5 Star. These are reviews from letterboxd.com, which is a website and an app where you can log, rate, and review movies. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a film, and we go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating that you can give a film. And on this show, I read the half-star review in an accent or impersonation. Do you have any requests?
I mean, I don't know. Do you want to read it as Frank? I feel like we'd have to manipulate your voice in post.
I was going to say, I don't think I can.
Yeah,
I did find out how they did that, though. It was very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. I don't, though, so let's spin our wheel.
Wheel of Voices.
Michael Caine?
Oh, hello, Michelle.
Hello, Michael.
Always a pleasure.
Can you please read our half-star review of Donnie Darko for us?
Certainly for you, chap. Okay, before you begin, Mr. Caine, or is it is Michael Caine a lord? Sir?
Or
Sir Michael
sir?
Caine? Yeah,
Am I
okay,
thinking-
Sir
I don't know if
Sir
that's right.
Caine, before you begin, I just want to let the listening audience know that except for the final sentence in this review, all of the words are in capital letters.
Oh, boy.
Okay, here's a review for Donnie Darko, read by Michael Caine. I hate how everyone thinks this movie is super nuanced and highbrow. It's just a bunch of random pieces of themes thrown together. I could very well be too stupid, which is why I dislike this film.
It's like, I know I could be stupid, but no, it's not the film's fault. And it's not
Well,
I'm saying it's not my fault.
I thought it was funny because they start out strong and in all caps.
Yeah.
I hate how everyone thinks this movie is super nuanced and highbrow. It's just a bunch of random pieces of themes thrown together. And then into the regular writing, I could very well be stupid.
But to still rate it like that, like I'm saying I'm stupid, but I'm still going to rate it low.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever.
Thank you, Mr. Caine.
It's just a bunch of random pieces of themes thrown together. I don't understand that.
Well, if you
What does
watched
that
this
mean?
once and you felt, and it's very complex and you don't get it, if you feel you're annoyed by it, you could be like, what are we doing? We're doing time travel and we're doing like destiny and we're doing, is this coming of age? And we're doing angsty teenager and blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
3-star review says, tries way too hard to be a masterpiece, but redeems itself in certain strides. Maybe rewatches of this will help improve my overall feelings on it. I was feeling around 2 stars until the last 30 minutes. LOL.
It tries to be a masterpiece? Interesting. I don't
Listen,
know.
I hate the idea of like when people describe films as Oscar bait or it's trying too hard. What do you want from them? To not try to make a good movie? What does that mean?
Right? Yeah.
Like, we didn't try hard on this movie. We just, it was good because of happenstance.
Right.
I also love the idea that like you were around 2 stars for most of the movie and then the final 30 minutes really tied it all together. All right, 5-star review says, they don't make films like Donnie Darko anymore. It is haunting, beautiful, and utterly unforgettable. A rare kind of storytelling that lingers in your mind long after the credits roll. A true masterpiece that everyone should experience at least once in their life.
Wow.
Well, I wonder what Roger Ebert had to say about this movie. If only we had a song to play. Wait a minute.
Oh, wait. We do.
Much like Donnie Darko, let's rewind and go to the beginning of this episode and see.
Ebert, Ebert, I wonder what you thought about this.
All right, he rated this 2.5 out of 4. Wasn't blown away by it, but he seemed to like it.
Okay.
The part of his review that I pulled says, "This setup and development is fascinating. The payoff, less so. I could tell you what I think happens at the end and what this movie is about, but I would not be sure I was right. The movie builds twists on top of turns until the plot wheel revolves one time too many and we're left scratching our heads. We don't demand answers at the end, but we want some kind of closure. Kaiser Soze may not explain everything in The Usual Suspects, but it feels like he does." So Ebert did not like the feeling of coming to the end of a movie and being like, I don't really know what I can tell you. Which, as someone who tells people about movies for a living, is probably frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we rate things as a movie, schmovie, or film. We rate it 1 through 5 stars, give our thoughts on the runtime, if we recommend it or not, and we give a shout out to whatever part of the film's practical filmmaking stood out to us. Now, before we record each episode, we write down a guess of what the other host will rate the film. And every time we guess correctly, we get to add a point to our tattoo tally. And whoever has the most points at the end of the year, 2026, gets to pick a tattoo for the other host that they will then get tattooed on them without knowing what it is first. Currently, Michelle has 4 points and I have 6. So for you, I am guessing a 4-star movie.
Ooh, close. 3.5 movie.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a solid good 3.5.
Okay.
And I toyed with it, but again, going back to, I think there's just a lot that needs to be done afterwards to really dive into this movie if you feel you need to, right?
Yeah.
That being said, I am recommending it, and I do think this is a movie you should watch, and I think there's great conversation to follow. So yeah, I would think this is a great, like I said this, I don't remember, was it last week? Who knows? I said it was a great, like, movie club choice.
Yeah.
Watch it with a group of people, watch it with your partner. I mean, hey, if you watch it as a first date movie, think about how that person would, think about it and what conclusions they would come to. That would be interesting to talk about, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The runtime is fine. And practical filmmaking. I mean, honestly, just learning about how this movie was made and really the Tears for Fears sequence, how originally Kelly wanted to do that as a oneer. And then they were like, hey, how about we
Right.
do this in 5 shots? Like, they got it done in
Right.
one day. And that to me is very impressive. So for you, I wrote down 4-star movie.
Very good.
Get out of
Yes.
town.
Very good. I think if I had asked myself 20 years ago how I feel about this film, I probably would have been like, perfect. Masterpiece.
No notes.
No notes. And I don't mean that to say like, oh, now I don't like it.
Yeah.
To me, a 4-star movie, that's a great movie. I think that Donnie Darko is a great movie. I think that it's fun, it's funny, it's interesting. I think that it does such a good job of having a consistent tone, a consistent feel. And I like how if you were to just watch the film, you would have a lot to chew on. Like you just said, this would be a great first date movie. Hopefully you wouldn't fall asleep like Gretchen does in Evil Dead.
Right.
But yeah, I recommend this to everyone. I think that this is a good film for one of my least favorite decades of American filmmaking, which are the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
As far as practical filmmaking, I want to give a shout out to the costumes. costume designer April Ferry. She was a lot of fun listening to her talk about how she came up with different costumes. I think Frank the Bunny is iconic. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Frank is not a horror character. You know, Richard Kelly, like you said, he doesn't want to give all the answers, but he did say, he said, I will definitively say that Frank is not an evil character. Frank is a good character.
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, is Donnie Darko a horror movie? Not really. It's a sci-fi film. But what an iconic image, you know, Frank the mask and the costume. It's great. So yeah, shout out to Frank and all the other costumes in the movie. The runtime, it's it's as long as it could possibly be. And when you watch the director's cut, there's a lot more that's added. It feels a lot bigger, and I don't necessarily love the director's cut more than the theatrical cut. Hey, if this podcast went on just as long as it needed to, or, you know, maybe we'd love it if you give us a rating or review wherever you're listening. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Hey, remember, we're taking submissions for Ebert jingles. So if you have listened to this show for years and you think, I want to be part of the Movie Friends squad, you can do that. Look, there's a low threshold for taking part in our show, okay? You record yourself and send us an email. Boom, you're in.
And we support creativity. That's what we really want. We want you to be a part of our universe and show.
Absolutely. And hey, another way you can do that, support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Look, folks, the price of everything is going up, but you know what isn't? That's right. A subscription to Movie Friends through Patreon. Look, you get access to all of our additional shows and episodes. My wife and I just did an episode on The Greasy Strangler. That's right, folks. A movie that I swore I would never rewatch in my life. We did it, okay? It's up there. You also get to join our Patreon-only Discord. You get to vote on upcoming movies and monthly themes. You get ad-free episodes. Come on, just enough. Just do it, all right? I don't know what else to say. Michelle, anything nicer than just do it?
Please and thank you.
Well, there you go. All right, so that's Donnie Darko. Next week is my pick for the month. And I really thought about this. And while you and I enjoyed Donnie Darko, it's kind of a lot to think about. And I thought, I want to pick a movie that maybe is just a little nicer. You know, maybe a little simpler, maybe a little shorter. And I came upon a movie that also deals with some of the themes of Donnie Darko, but in a much smaller package. So next week, we're going to be talking about Petite Maman. It's from 2021, directed by Celine Sciamma. I'm not sure how to say her last name. This is 72 minutes long, currently streaming on Tubi.
This sounds so familiar.
It might sound familiar because one of our patrons, Skylar, this is like his favorite movie, and he's mentioned it several times.
Cool.
Yeah. So I guess this was my way of being like, okay, Donnie Darko, kind of heavy. This is just here we go.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Seth.
Hey, thank you for listening. And remember, folks, every living creature on Earth dies alone. Hey, until next week when we're talking about Petite Maman, thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean-Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.